Hey guys, Tomboy601, and we are taking a look at Battlefield 5 and the newest patch notes to come out for it. Oh my goodness, are they changing a lot. They are bringing back some old school mechanics to this game, and this might be the patch that finally fixes it all. So let's just dive on in. So like I said guys, big changes are coming to this game. First off, let's go ahead and dive into the vehicles. The biggest thing, they are kind of fixing airplanes, and by that I mean the Ju-88 will no longer outturn fighter planes. They're going to be rebalancing the turning rates for planes so that now fighters should be the most maneuverable planes in the sky and not bombers, because, you know, that doesn't make sense at all. The other big thing that they're changing the irreparable damage multiplier on rockets versus fighters. Taking a look at it, I think it was just a bug to begin with, because it was, right now it's in the game, it's been sent to 1.8, and everything else across the game, the rockets do 0.182, so there was just a misplaced decimal point that needed to get changed, but it made the rockets very effective against fighters. It'll still be effective as far as damage goes, just not the irreparable damage. Other big vehicle changes: passengers that exit your tank are no longer going to block your shots while they are in the entry-exit animation. That's always good. And also, vehicle splash damage indicators are also getting a little bit of change. They should now actually be more accurate. They're also fixing some issues that would cause random shakes and bumps when you're in the first-person view of the tank. Hopefully this allows you to kind of sit still. I know if sometimes you get weirdly lodged on some terrain, and if you get hit, then your gun goes a little wonky, so hopefully this fixes all of that. The last thing that they're doing for tanks, they're adding a new dust effect for when the tanks fire their main cannons. So that should look cool. That should look pretty good. Now, the biggest thing we are changing is the weapons and gadgets specifically the gadgets. Oh my goodness, health and ammo are getting a giant tweak. So the crate version of both the ammo crate and the medic crate are getting huge upgrades. The base crates, for both of them, the crates are now going to inherit the speed from the soldier to increase throwing distance. So if you're standing still, you'll be able to throw a certain distance. If you are sprinting, you'll be able to throw even farther. Crates and throw speed is now affected by the pitch and the angle, so it does actually matter where you're looking when you throw these things. And now when you throw them, crates just automatically attach to the terrain. They don't go sliding down the mountain anymore, which is nice. So basically going back to the Battlefield 4 kind of mechanics for how this all worked. Now comes the changes with the medics. So when you have a medic crate selected, it will heal nearby friendlies automatically in a 2-meter radius. This effect is interrupted for 2 seconds while taking damage, and for a second and a half while being suppressed. Also, they're bringing back what is the greatest and probably one of the few good things about Battlefield Hardline. When you have it equipped, friendly players can come up and just interact with you. They can press a prompt and they'll automatically get health from the medic. This means we will no longer have to deal with crappy medics who don't pass out supplies. And more importantly, this is also being carried over to support. You'll also be able to do this on support too, which is going to be great. Now on to weapon tweaks. The P08 carbine, well, they've reduced the recoil and sped up the recoil decrease. They've also improved the firing animation when you're using iron sights, so it's not as distracting. The last thing, that you can no longer use it while swimming. That's really unfortunate. I thought that was a fun little benefit of, like, hey, you have one of the crappier guns in the game. Here's a bonus for you. You get to use it while swimming. So if you want to go all commando, like, you know, you get a fun little, like, bonus for trying to sneak around in the water. I really liked it. It's unfortunate that's going away, but I guess that wasn't intended. Now, the commando carbine, which this is the biggest change that I don't think it really needed it, but according to DICE, it needed this change. So they are giving a pretty substantial buff to the commando carbine. They're increasing the 2-hit kill range to 50 meters. It was 30. They're increasing the distance at which one head and one body shot are lethal to 75 meters. That was previously 50 meters. And they're increasing the muzzle velocity to 350 meters per second. It was 400. And they are increasing the high velocity bullets to do 400 meters per second as opposed to 330. The one slight nerf they are doing is they're decreasing the suppression per bullet, but that's just the suppression. It'll still have the same amount of sound. If they increase the amount of sound it made, that might have been a true nerf. But the suppression, well, suppression doesn't really play too much into effect in this game, other than now having that interaction with the health crates. We also have the M28 Contrabandino. They're decreasing the suppression per bullet and fixing the grading modular, dealing incorrect amounts of damage. With the LS26, they've added a resumable empty reload, and they've slightly reduced the efficiency of the ported barrel specialization on that gun. They're also tweaking the recoil pattern to make it easier to use. It was already pretty easy, so I don't know if it really needed that. Assault rifles and SMGs are improving the accuracy and aim sustained fire for the second shot. They made a slight change. They had made a big change to this last patch. They're kind of reverting it or putting it kind of in the middle. So that's good to see that they are kind of paying attention. Also, with sidearms, they're improving the accuracy in unaimed sustained fire. So now follow-up shots in hip fire are going to be way more accurate than they previously were. However, they are not making this change for the Mark 6 revolver. Obviously, because if you just go around hip firing that thing, it could get pretty good because it's a 2-hit kill in closer range. As far as changes for the soldier, there are a couple of big changes here. First off, they're deploying the first version of the lighting patch to try to light enemy players better in dark areas. This is just trying to get people to pop a little bit more so that it's not as effective to hide in kind of dark corners from people. If you want more on it, DICE did put out a post on the Battlefield 5 subreddit. You can go ahead over there and read about it. It's a decent read. And the other big thing is manual leaning has come to the game. I don't really know why, but hey, we're getting manual leaning. It's going to be F on the PC, and it's going to be R3 on the consoles. It is nice to see them adding manual lean to the consoles. You don't really get to see that much, though I don't really know how much it will help. Also on the consoles, if you're ADS, clicking in the R stick will lean you right, clicking in the left stick will lean you left, very much like Rainbow Six Siege. I don't really know how effective this will be. Leaning tends to be for more tactical games, so maybe you'll use this in, say, Firestorm or something like that. But in the franticness that is Battlefield, I don't know if you really need it. Finally, some other changes. Landing rolls are now going to have to be triggered while you're hitting the ground as opposed to just whenever you are in the air. That kind of makes sense. They felt it was too easy to avoid damage. There's a ton of changes just to random maps, whether it be like things clipping into walls and preventing that, stuff like fire effects affecting people through walls, stuff like that. Just little changes like that. Same thing with the UI, just a ton of little UI updates. Also, they have increased stability and hopefully improved it on the PC. I don't know how that's going to turn out. I play on console, so hopefully that works out for those PC players out there. So yeah, guys, that is the patch for... that is the latest patch for Battlefield. Lots of big changes. I'm really excited to see just how effective this patch is, just how well it ends up working, and hopefully the changes to gadgets sticks. I really like the sound of it, kind of decreasing the emphasis on the attrition system, bringing it back to Battlefield Hardline kind of rules. That you know, for those abilities to show up in Battlefield Hardline and never to be seen again in the in any of the other Battlefields, it's good to see it make a change because it was legitimately one of the best features. It was that and showing where a capture point, like the radius of a capture point. Those are Battlefield Hardline's 2 contributions to this franchise, and we're finally using them both. So good on DICE. Now we just have to get them to fix their microtransactions. But that's a different video for a different day. Guys, if you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Also, hit that like button as well if I didn't tell you to do that already. If not, please do it. I need likes. I'm not above begging for them. Please. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. See ya.